It seems that Granulation component doesn't work in Unreal Engine 5. It still exists, so I think they will fix the issue, but for the moment I took a time to understand better what is granular synthesis is, or granulation, and try to remake it with meta sounds. So first I need a grain. This is a small part of wave file. In metasound we don't have direct access to samples of waveform. So unlike the pure data, where I can take an amount of samples and play them, it's not possible in metasounds. But metasounds is sample accurate, so it wouldn't be a problem. Wave file should be played, then it can be modified. So there is one option for this, and this is a wave player. Let's take a file loop from starter contact for testing. Place an AD envelope node to metasound to get a grain. Connect a trigger pin of AD with the onPlay pin of wave player. AD attack and decay time will give a grain a needed timing or length. So let's make it 0001 and 0004. So actual timing of grain will be 5 milliseconds. To make AD has effect on signal, I need to multiply its audio output to audio output of wave player and connect it with main audio out. Need also load a file sample too. AD has a cool checkbox called looping. Check it and play the sound. It sounds like an original, but a little bit quieter, so it works. Checking out the checkbox, I don't need it. So what I need is more grains. To produce more grains, I need several wave players. That's why it's better to move this node to separate metasound patch. I copy-paste all that I made. And add trigger input and wave asset input, audio output. And I need another metasound patch where I'll put several grains. Drag grain patch here. Like it was with grain patch, it needs trigger, wave asset input and audio output. And here should be a mixer. Make 2 copies of wave player and I need to connect them with mixer. And trigger input I'm going to connect with sequence trigger. So grains will play one after each other. And now I'm making a new metasound source, where I'll put a grain sequence patch. So it should sound like short pop. So this is a grain that comes from 2 wave players. Okay, that's great, but it doesn't sound so cool, right? There are few ways of playing grains. What I did already, I believe, is called layering, means playing grains on top of each other. But the simplest thing I can do is playing grains randomly. It's called reordering. It should work for such ambient sounds like fire. So first I need a repeat trigger to continually produce grains. Period of this repeat will be our grain per second parameter, like it was in Granulation component. I create a variable number of grains, divide 1 to this number and get period of repetition in seconds. It will be enough to set it for 100 to 300. To make a random time of playing grains, I need to return to grain patch and make a new input from start time pin of wave player. Then do the same in a grain sequence patch and connect it with all players. And finally return to granular random player, metasound, create a random time node. Put it between repeat trigger and granular sequence. Connect random time output to granular sequence start time pin. I drag and make a variable of wave asset. Then get a duration of a wave. Put it in time variable. Connect duration variable to max pin of random time node. So now let's try it out. It sounds a little bit clunky. Let's return to grain page and make a grain bigger, like 0 or 1. Means together it will be 20 milliseconds. Now it sounds smoother. So voila, this is asynchronous granular synthesis. It's actually usable. Let's return to grain page and create a pitch input. Again, make a same in a grain sequence and connect it with all players. Now I can change a pitch of granular random player. You can say that it is the same as a pitch wave file loop. Let's compare it. If I take a wave player and the same file loop and pitch it ridiculously high, like 24 semitones, you can hear like it repeats itself. If I make the same with granular, it does not. Because it does not depend on playback. More of that, I can randomize the pitch of grains. So with these parameters, it is possible to make random sounds for every torch in a game. However, playback of such meta sounds tests the compression limits of your system, so you need to be careful. You can download all blueprints that I made here from blueprintue.com. Links would be below the video. Thank you for listening.